There is a very thin line between faith and insanity. A very thin line between faith and insanity. If I come to your house and ask you to empty all your bank account, reserving nothing for yourself, you will look at me and say, where is this Nigerian scammer coming from? And you will see me as, oh, what is he saying? Is he out of his mind? So the first reading of today and the gospel actually opens up faith from the perspective of God and insanity from the perspective of humans. It reminded me of what happened on Easter Monday in 2014. Normally, it has been the tradition in the seminary where I was teaching that on Easter Mondays, we divide ourselves into groups from the contribution of the seminarians. We go to different places like motherless babies' homes, orphanages, prisons, and give them something. So I was to go with my group. In fact, we went to an orphanage run by the Sisters of Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And they took us around the whole place, the whole facility. We went into the room with the little kids, the motherless babies, and they were hanging on us like, they needed love. And they took us around, and we came to the chapel. They told us how, show us their stained glasses in their chapel. And then we came out. There was this big statue of St. Joseph outside. And when we got there, one of the nuns said to me, this is where we get what we eat. I didn't understand it. He said, we live on divine providence. We don't keep things for ourselves, but we give what we have, and then we hope that something else will come for us to eat. And she gave me the example of what happened the previous day. They got a half bag of rice and cooked it and went to the prison with it to celebrate Easter with people in the prison. And they had nothing. They came back, went to the statue of St. Joseph, prayed, and offered their day to St. Joseph. That evening, somebody brought loads and loads of rice to them. And the next morning, we came with our own little gifts. And she said to me, this is the example of what I'm saying. We live on divine providence. That is the reason why I said there is a very thin line between faith and insanity. For some people, it will be insane to get rid of all you have and give it to some other people. But for those who have faith, it works. And that's what happened between this woman and Elijah, the prophet. The story did not start here. The story started when Elijah locked up the heavens. For 3.5 years, there was no rain in Israel. The whole places were dry. And he went to the brook Cherith, where God commanded him. And he was drinking from the brook until the brook got dried up. And God directed him to this woman of Zarephath. And the woman was just gathering sticks to make things for themselves, and that was her last hope. And then this man appeared from nowhere and said, hey, give me some water to drink. Hey, guy, you locked up the heavens. Why are you demanding water from me? That will be my reaction. Hey, Elijah, go and sort yourself out. I didn't lock up the heavens, so why are you demanding water from me? Go and find water for yourself. No, the woman was going to bring the water, and Elijah said, hey, I need some bread too. Really? Are you kidding me? I have a handful of something to make for myself and for my child, and then that will be our last hope, and we will die. But Elijah reassured her. He said, do not be afraid, for the Lord has spoken. That is faith. It is insane for her to get what she had for herself and for her child to live on and give to Elijah. Humanly speaking, it is insanity. But then, when it comes to the fact that the Lord has spoken, and the words of the Lord reassured her, she went along, did as the prophet said, and the result is that the oil was never spent, and the jar of flour was never emptied, because the Lord said it. It was like a resurrection from the dead. The gospel relayed the same story. Everybody was putting in large sum of money in the treasury, and this woman came and dropped 2 coins, and Christ praised her. I don't say you should drop 2 coins in the collection box, you know. However, she had these 2 coins to live on, which means after this, I will resort to hope. And if God brings me anything, I will live on that. But this is the 2 things I have to live on. These 2 coins, she dropped it. For human beings, it is insanity. But for those who have God, the thin line between insanity and faith, it is faith. And it works because it is a reassurance. It is a reassurance of hope, of people who are hopeless to come back, to spring back into hopefulness. It was Oscar Wilde who said the difference between a cynic, the definition of a cynic, is someone who knows the price of everything and know not the value of anything. In other words, Christ was praising her because of the value, not just the size, not just the price, but the value of giving oneself and one's total being. In other words, it makes us part of a whole. Faith is reassuring yourself that you are just an infinitesimal part of a very big whole. And that big whole is God. And that becomes the reason why we do certain things we do that seem insane in human thinking. Being part of a whole. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, the second reading of today tells us about Christ who gave himself into death and rose again from the dead and will come again to judge the world, which means he gave himself to death and he lives forever, giving what we have. And what we have to live on is like dying. But the hope of the sustenance that comes from God, that comes from that big whole, is like a reassurance of life. And we are called to do the same. The Lord be with you.